Prabhu, so good to see you. Thank you for joining me today.
Steve, likewise, thanks for having me. My pleasure.
And the pleasure is mine. Thank you. So let's jump right into it. Would you begin by introducing yourself and your organization to the audience?
My name is Prabhu Soundarrajan, and I am with Service by Medallion, which is a leading facility maintenance company in San Francisco Bay Area. Me personally, I've had 20 years of experience in facilities management and facility services with the likes of Fortune 100 companies and also early stage growth companies. So very happy to be here.
Am I correct that most of your experience has been in the sustainability space?
Yes, it has been. Started out very early on with what used to be called Environmental Health and Safety, or EHS. This was a practice I led in Honeywell for almost a decade, more on the industrial safety side. And then I was, head of corporate vice president of innovation and sustainability at a waste services company called Republic Services, where I really helped them transform from a traditional base service hauler to the industry's first forward integrated plastics recycler. So every plastic bottle you drink water from comes back to its original life. You could turn that plastic bottle for 7 times in their life history. So we double the capacity of the amount of recycled plastics in the environment. And also, I've worked on landfill-based RNG projects on the air side, where purposefully captured the flared renewable natural gas and then used it for very purposeful things like transportation and even aviation fuel. So happy to be here.
You have some real broad expertise in the issue of sustainability and the circular economy and all those kind of things. So again, thank you. So let me ask you a question. Why do you and Service by Medallion care about sustainability? And what I'd like to ask you is both personally why you care and how you see it as a business opportunity for your company.
Thank you, Steve. Very good question. Personally, I feel that environmental sustainability and financial sustainability are closely interlinked. Okay. Companies like us who have a leadership who wants to be a leader in driving sustainable circular practices have happy customers, and happy customers is generally very good for business. Now, sustainability is something I believe we cannot live without, right? We are reaching record highs in temperature around the globe, and if we don't start as a person, for example, I don't drink out of a plastic bottle anymore. If I drink water, I drink out of a recyclable, like a glass or water bottle. That was my personal contribution, the pledge I took several years ago to say, if I'm going to be passionate about driving something, it has to start with me, right? I take an extra time to separate my food waste from plastic waste and to garbage. What goes to landfill? I'm generally conscious. I try to drive my kids, and my wife is a great supporter, and it extends into Service Medallion's culture of separating waste sources in every site we're in. We're a 46-year-old company, and we've served the best of the tech and pharma companies, and we try to take the same passion to our customers just to give them the opportunity to know and learn and be ambassadors of sustainability to our customers. Happy to explain more on that if you need.
Well, yeah, actually, because you serve on ISSA Sustainability Committee, I think you have a sense of who our members are and what we're looking for. So yeah, I would be very interested in you sharing some of the things that your company has been doing specific to sustainability in your company, with your employees, and of course, for your clients.
Yeah, thank you, Steve, for the opportunity to serve in what I consider a very exciting and a very purposeful committee in ISSA. So glad to be part of it and honored to be part of it. Again, just to set it up, Service by Medallion has been in business for 46 years, as I mentioned. And we serve the tech industry and the pharma industry that have got very good concentration here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and who have global locations, right? So when we start working with them, they're generally very small, startup to high growth companies, and they're generally very environmentally friendly. Okay, so we've looked at water usage, energy usage, covering big buckets, and also we are now driving zero waste program, which is essentially we do a waste audit for our customers. A big technology leader has worked with us because we touch these buildings, being in the facility maintenance, we touch these buildings 5-6 times a week. So we have the opportunity to say, hey, maybe that waste doesn't go here, it goes somewhere else. Your light doesn't need to be on when nobody's at work. And as you know, we also do very well with varying occupancy in commercial buildings. So we're able to be ambassadors, driving a waste diversion program we've driven for some of our customers, where we've taken the waste diversion from 66%, for example, to over 90% in a period of months by identifying and separating waste. As an example, you also saved, not only dollars, but also energy and also in water as key pillars of what we have done. And I'm also excited to discuss with you a new program that we're driving called Zero Waste, where we could really help. There's a lot of regulations coming due to SB 1313 and organic food diversion. So we're often helpful the way we can be to companies and when the regulations are upcoming, so they don't get big fines because of lack of compliance. As some examples.
Thank you. And would you share some of the challenges you're facing? Obviously, you have a lot of experience, but you're right there in the thick of it. What challenges do you face, and especially how can your vendors, right, as a service provider, how could vendors be more helpful to companies like yours?
A great question. I think some considerations, right, as to what, practicality versus what we really dream, right, is, everybody wants to be net zero. Everyone wants to be, totally carbon neutral, whichever, regulatory and, methodology you take. But it requires a huge culture shift, and it starts from the top. And I'm a practitioner in sustainability, and I've worked in, multi-billion-dollar companies. It's just not enough to just follow a framework, but really live it every day, right? And make sure your operations, your scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 are measured. So as part of culture, you need a big cultural focus, and not just on sustainability, but also on all other things we talked about in terms of environmentally being sustainable. At the same time, you need an execution framework. And the big gap I see is reporting, right? There are different, we live in a, tech-rich area, so there's a lot of different systems that, I'm a firm believer and you can't control what you can measure, right? And that's a big challenge in the sense that we don't have a common single pane of glass view that everybody say, this is what I'm moving towards. So there's fragmented data streams and so on and so forth. So, reporting is a big, it's a challenge we can solve with technology pretty easily. But across those different areas of energy, water, everything that drives to your scope 1, 2, 3. And we use a lot of green cleaning products from vendor management perspective. We use green products in restrooms and in every part of the building. In equipment, we try to use green equipment that uses less energy from our perspective. So we push those to our vendors. And we also have now hired some top talent from good universities around where we are to have our own sustainability framework, right? So so the products we use, the methodologies we drive to our vendors, and then the commitments we make to our customers really, we hope will move the needle and drive that cultural change with our customers, and we will happy to be a part of it.
Thank you. And last question for you. We've covered a number of topics in the short amount of time we have, so thank you. But is there anything else that especially based on your experience outside of our industry and now inside the industry, that you would like to share? Any advice, any encouragement, anything I haven't touched on?
No, I think thank you for that. I think if I bring my experience from a couple of industries outside the commercial buildings or the building maintenance, it's really the focus. So there was a lot of discussions a few years ago around what is the best framework. Is it neutrality? Is it net zero? And I'm talking from an experience of working with oil and gas companies and other folks. I think we have to come up with a framework of what is the commercial facilities industry wants to really focus on. We can't do everything for everybody. And then to your point, learn best practices, some of the industries that are a little bit more advanced than we are, and then the corporate real estate industry, if you will, and then bring those proven methodologies and technologies, and also having a standard framework so everybody can get to I don't know what it is, 2030 vision or 2025 vision of a single pane of glass. There's no argument back and forth. This is my data looks this way versus your data looks that way. Is to drive a common standard framework, which is where I think ISSA can be immensely helpful as an industry organization and really reward the early movers. So based on your guidance and ISSA's guidance, right, I immediately made the call when the Intro to Sustainability course was released. I sent it to our leadership team, and we were one of the first to adopt and train our people. And because I knew it was so important, so what I'm really saying is that the cultural shift ain't going to happen just because we want it to happen. It has to be driven from the top. That's what I learned from other industries that we can bring into ours.
So thank you. I also, again, want to thank you for your investment in the Introduction to Sustainability course that the committee has launched. I think it's a good challenge for all the members of ISSA to use it to get informed and educated and get everyone on the same page. So thank you for mentioning that. And let me just end by telling you how much I appreciate your time, and my thanks to you and to your entire team.